yes, you need to earn your stripes and work hard and do all those things that are necessary, but don't do it at the expense of the things that you value most in your life, because at the end of the day, it's just a game. It's 53 and a third wide and 120 yards long, and we all throw Wilson GST footballs.
Today's episode of First Down features Spencer Crace, the offensive coordinator at Pacific Lutheran University. For more content like this, be sure to like and subscribe.
Appreciate you having me.
To kick things off, Coach, can you just share with the audience about your background and how you've ultimately ended up at Pacific Lutheran?
Well, I'm a son of a coach. My dad is currently our tight ends coach here at PLU. This will be his 49th year coaching football. So,
Wow.
Yeah, I've grown up in the house of a coach. So to me, it was just a natural thing. I saw the impact that coaches can have on the lives of young people, and I knew that this was the direction I wanted to go.
Can you talk about what it was like coming from a coaching family and then how that's helped you step into the profession?
This profession is all about relationships, right? And I think originally you asked me, how did we end up at PLU and how did that all come to fruition? It was relationships, it's connections. And our current head coach here at PLU was the defense coordinator at University of Puget Sound, where I first started my coaching career. And so we developed a good bond and stayed in touch. After we parted and went our different ways, we just kept, in touch. And it's when he came to recruit, and I was coaching high school, he would stay at my house. And so for me, growing up in the house of a coach, I saw the exact same thing. My dad was constantly connecting, developing really good rapport with other college coaches. And I think it's so pivotal in this profession that one, you don't burn a bridge, and two, you just keep building great relationships, because it's about who you know, right? You're gonna hire the guys you can trust, who obviously, I think most people know X's and O's. Hopefully, right? Like you can coach the game of football, but at the end of the day, right? Are you someone that's going to be consistent, be loyal, work extremely hard, have your values and everything in alignment? And so that was key for me, seeing that growing up in the house of a coach. And that's been key for my role here at PLU and how I got to PLU, because of those characteristics that I've developed over the years.
Beyond just keeping in touch, because I know it's like a general thing. Like what specific advice would you give to a younger coach who's trying to network and make those kind of relationships?
Being consistent. And I try not to be that guy that asks for a lot of stuff. I personally am not someone that is out there pounding the pavement, knocking on doors, trying to get that quote unquote D1 job. Because for us, and it's a long time saying here at PLU, make the big time where you're at. And I think for a lot of young coaches, they jump into the profession thinking that they need to be, a coordinator right away, or they need to be climbing the ladder super fast. And yeah, absolutely, right? Have those goals, have those aspirations. And, at this point right now, right, the next step for me is to be a head football coach somewhere. And ideally at a small college, because I love this environment. I love the purity of the game at the Division III or NAIA level. But I'm also going to not chase a logo. I'm going to chase a person. And for me, the way I know a great coach is by just developing that continuity, that time. But usually it's just through like connecting via text, via email, social media, and just checking in, seeing how they're doing, getting to know them on a personal level, getting to know their family. And quite honestly, the best way I've gotten to develop those relationships have been through camps. Back when I first was getting going in the high school ranks, I oversaw one of the largest one-day football camps on the West Coast, called the Northwest Elite Football Camp. And that had about 750 kids and 96 college coaches. So because of that one-day camp, I met a ton of guys, and I was in charge of recruiting all the college coaches to come work the camp and develop those relationships and make sure that they had everything they needed. And because of that, I've just stayed in touch, and, seeing them at the convention, seeing them at other camps, recruiting events, different things, is really, really important. So just don't be that guy that is, you can smell desperation on coaches, right? When
Yeah.
they're at a clinic and they're just constantly bombarding a coach. Like, just be you, and truly and genuinely care about that person. And And if it's the right place, it's the right place, and that door will be opened up. I firmly believe that.
I think it comes down to just genuinely being genuine and being true to yourself. And then, like you're saying, just adding value to where you are now so that you can like prove that if your aspiration is to be a head coach, you can prove that you can do it by the job that you're doing wherever you are now. Any last words of advice, coach, you want to share with the audience?
I actually spoke at the convention this year, but I didn't speak in a football perspective. I spoke from a faith-based perspective through the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and had about 85 coaches in the room. And one of the things I challenge the coaches in regards to is just time management. And I had a bunch of actually young coaches come up to me and just tell me how refreshing that was to hear, because yes, football is a grind. I actually hate using that word, but it is a lot of work, right? All the stuff that we have to do, especially small college. I mean, you rattled off my resume there, and you didn't include equipment manager, mowing the lawn, all the different things that we have to do at the small college level just to
Oh
make
yeah.
ends meet. However, right, like I think it's okay to create parameters and boundaries for as a young coach to say, like, this is where these are my priorities. This is why I do what I do. And, break up the status quo in coaching, right? Like you're going to work hard for sure, but it doesn't mean that it has to come at the expense of a relationship, a marriage, seeing your kids. I have 3 kids under the age of 8, and my number one goal is to make sure that I'm their dad. And they know me, they see me, they have a relationship with me. And so I think young coaches, yes, as you enter into the profession, yes, you need to earn your stripes and work hard and do all those things that are necessary, but don't do it at the expense of the things that you value most in your life. Because at the end of the day, it's just a game. It's 53 and a third wide and 120 yards long, and we all throw Wilson GST footballs, right? So to me, it's it's where your heart is at. And if your heart is in the right place, then great things are going to happen for you. Doors are going to be opened up. Coaches are going to notice that. And like I said in the beginning, when I become a head coach, like, I'm going to hire guys I can trust. Obviously, they got to know football and be a great recruiter, but along with that, I need to make sure that they have the right values in place, and because I want a family environment, and so yeah, we need to find rest as coaches, or else we get burnt out. It's why this is one of the highest divorce rate professions in the country. And it's why there's a lot of toxicity in football, because coaches do not know how to manage relationships and time outside of the game of football well. So that would be my challenge to any coach listening to this: is you can do it different. I know you can. We do it differently here at PLU, and it's part of the reason why I'm still here, right? I love the environment I get to work in and the people I get to work with, and makes this place pretty special.
Definitely. And the thing I always think about when I hear coaches talking about time management is that, your job is replaceable, but you as a dad or as a family member, that's not replaceable. So,
Absolutely.
prioritize accordingly, as some people would say.
Yeah, and also too, right? Like, Justin, there's not you hear now people saying, well, there's really no such thing as work-life balance. And actually I would agree, right? Like, it's there's going to be days like a Monday install day. That is a long, long day, right? And you're getting everything dialed in. And during the season, you have long days. However, right, when you go home, and hopefully you are going home, right? How are you putting your phone down? Are you doing the things necessary to be present for your kids or for your wife or whatever that situation is that you're in? And finding balance that way, right? It's not always going to be equal, but are you fully present? That's the key. And are you carving out and making time for those things that are important in your life?
Visit CoachToolsLLC.com for our player grading software.